Hello, Taurus. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If Taurus is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Taurus, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. All right, Princess of Cups. You're a dreamer, and you're not the only one. This is a card that is encouraging us to never stop dreaming, right? Be always, striving toward expanding our minds, expanding our imagination, using our imagination, right? I feel like you're somebody who has intense dreams, daydreams, fantasies. You might even be like writing like creative writing, short stories or whatever. If you do, send them over to Dove and Serpent Bedtime Stories. But I feel that you have a very rich imagination. And right now I feel that is a very useful energy. I feel that you sometimes get this feeling even, like it feels as if your dreams and your fantasies, your psychic contents, very often pour out into the world around you, and you experience like intense synchronicity. This is kind of the fish in the percolator card. Yeah. And it's you being able to recognize the absurd, to appreciate the absurd, to appreciate the novelty, to appreciate those things that are there that, kind of stand out, really shouldn't be there. The fish in your goblet or in your coffee machine. The carafe, I guess it's called. It's sort of like you have your own inside jokes with the universe, And I think right now your imagination is going to come in handy. Let's find out how. All right, let's put this card into some context. We're going to use our Dove and Serpent spread. We've got a 4 of Wands. We've got, okay, that's good. We've got a Queen of Swords. And yes, we've got the Chariot. We've got a Queen of Pentacles too. And a 7 of Pentacles. Over here we have a 6 of Swords. We have the Adjustment card. A 9 of Pentacles and, the Death card. Now, don't freak out about the Death card. The Death card is one of the best cards in the tarot. It's the card of change. It is the fundamental force of the universe. Right? It is slow and steady progress, slow and steady change. It is, it's the idea that you're sort of forging your own path forward. It's the idea that I think everybody who's conscious right now, we are at the bleeding edge of consciousness. We are like right at the forefront of evolution, of spiritual evolution, psychic evolution, of the exploration, the expansion. Every moment we're alive, we're sort of expanding the universe. We're right at the edge of consciousness, right at the edge of the universe at every moment. So it really is this kind of weird experience to be alive, And I think that's what the Death card really is. You're sort of cutting your own way through the jungle here. Yeah. And of course, this is that jungle which we're trying to forge a path, toward the 9 of Pentacles. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. we're going to set it down right over here. We're going to put our little octopus friend, maybe the 8 of Tentacles, we'll call them. If you have a name for that card, or for the octopus, let me know. If you have a prediction for the card, put it in the comments down below. All right. Let's take a look around the room. Major, major, and major. I think that what Spirit's saying through the major arcana is that we have to look at our sort of routines, right? We have to look at our sort of rigid habits, or even our beliefs, or the way that we've been doing things, right? This is kind of a stubborn chariot, right? It's kind of like I do things my way and that's it. I think we need some adjustments here. The chariot, to me, always, it is a card of devotion. It is a card of commitment and loyalty and hard work and discipline, right? But to me, it always represents a box, right? It's kind of like we have all this loyalty and ambition and discipline and devotion and commitment, but we're being restricted into this, we're being fenced in with it. You know, you have discipline, it means you can only operate within this framework. If you have commitment and loyalty, it means that you have to sort of, above all else, you have to operate within this framework, this fence, you know. And so we have that card. We've got the adjustment card. It's kind of, it's the evaluation, and it's in the position of your environment. So it's kind of like every waking moment, we're out here in the world, we're conscious, we're alive. We're making decisions. We're making choices, you know. And so I wonder if in a very real way, Spirit's saying that you've got to get yourself outside of this box. You've got to start thinking with your imagination. You've got to start utilizing that imagination to get out of that rigid fence that we've been in and do some different things. Use that imagination. Follow the absurd. Follow the synchronicities. You know, do something big that almost seems silly. You know, it almost seems impossible. Because that's how you're going to make progress. That's how you're going to turn the 7 of Pentacles into a 9 of Pentacles. Okay? When we're over here on the path of the dove, we're looking at the 7. Okay? Because it's saying that the method that you've been in now, what you've been doing in the past, it's not gonna really lead to much. Okay? That maybe something is sort of, you've outgrown this discipline, or this. And it's not saying that discipline itself is not useful. No, it's saying that what you've been disciplined in, that box that you've been in, right, has been limiting, and it's leading to limited success. Okay? Thinking outside the box, realizing that what you've been committed to now, maybe with 4 of Wands, is kind of saying that cycle's over. That commitment, that loyalty, you don't have to be disciplined there. You don't have to be loyal to that anymore. It's time now for you to evaluate your plan, evaluate your path, and maybe start thinking bigger picture here. Get out of the fence. You know, break through the fence that's been sort of limiting us. Yeah. And, you know, the Death card, of course, is that the continued ongoing success. Okay, so I don't know if, I don't know, Spirit's kind of, I'm getting this impression that you've traveled a lot. And maybe that's coming from the Chariot card, or I don't know, maybe there's even been the traveling thing. Maybe it's the idea that you haven't been traveling a lot, or that you have sort of been, you've been suppressing that part of you. Okay, we think of the Chariot, right? Was a Chariot meant to do? Travel, right? Go, explore, just, you know, drive, like a car, right? It's just meant to drive. But if you're just sort of building a little wall around your yard and saying, yeah, you can drive anywhere you want, car, but you have to stay inside these walls, you know, it's very limiting, right? And it's sort of like just a concession. It's saying, you know, that this is your true nature, and you're allowed to be your true self, but only in this little area right here. Okay? So I think there's something within you that is sort of breaking forth. And I think it's coming through that imagination, through your dreams, through your synchronicities, and that whole Princess of Cups energy. The Four of Wands that we have is sort of saying that that fence, that box that you were in was only meant to be temporary. That you did that. You stuck yourself there for a time. It was good. It was a learning experience. You gained wisdom and whatever. It was proper. Yeah. Now it's time to put an end to that. Now it's time to move on and complete that cycle. Realizing that this was, this was meant to be a temporary situation for you, because it is limiting you. It is like, it's helping you to build yourself and to create yourself and to realize your true nature, and but it was too contained. Does that make sense? I hope that's resonating. It's a very distinct feeling that I'm getting. Let's look around a little bit more. We have our fire here. That's it. That's the fire. That's all we have for fire. We got 1, 2, 3 majors. We got fire. We got water right here. That's it. That's all we got for water. Otherwise, we've got air, and we've got earth, and earth. Okay. So the fire and the water right here, I think that's the central focus. And it is the idea of, in this limited framework that you've been in, and it's almost like this was the sort of, this was just a closed track, a training ground or something. And there was no real progress. There was limited progress. Getting out of that sort of training zone, or out of that closed track, or that limited area, or limited energy, you're then able to expand. This is where the real success is. This is where your real freedom lies, So the Four of Wands is definitely saying that it was meant to be a temporary thing. And I don't know what it was exactly. And it's some place that, like, I think you kind of know that you can't stay here forever. It's what's that one movie from a long time ago? Van Wilder, right? He's just in college for like 10, 20 years. He doesn't want to leave. And he finally does, I think, at the end, if I remember that. It was a silly movie. But it's something that was only meant to be temporary, but maybe we've just been in there too long. We've been devoted to it, committed to it. We've had that discipline. It's become a habit. It's become a routine. The Four of Wands is saying, it's done. We've completed that section. It's time to move forward. Okay? This was like when you're, you're learning to drive a car, and your parents take you to a little parking lot, and it's just like, I'm just going to drive around the parking lot till I get good. You're good now. You can go on the regular. You got your license already, You're not just going to stay in that parking lot and driving around in a circle, It's time to get on the real road, in a way. So you've had that discipline, you've had that commitment and that loyalty, but this is, it's time to move on now. It's kind of like you're limiting yourself, you're holding yourself back. Maybe this is a job, a relationship, maybe this is just a spiritual energy. The Queen of Swords underneath the surface here. The Queen of Swords is, all the queens are looking at the past. Okay? And we've got a couple of them here. So I feel like we're looking maybe too much at the past. But we sort of need to see it. But we need to see it in the right way. We need to see it as it truly is. I think the Queen of Pentacles is looking at this past and kind of thinking, I am I'm the master of this, that I've achieved something here. It's like, yeah, you're the best, driver in this parking lot, and I'm not trying to diminish what you've been doing, but it's the way that energetically, it's the way that we kind of look at where we've been and we think, I've gotten to the very top. This is, for instance, I was working at a small moving company many years ago, 20 years ago now, small moving company in San Jose, California. And there was only about 5 or 6 employees altogether. And after a couple of years, I sort of became like the manager, of the place. And the owners would sit me down and they'd say, we can't pay you anymore. Like, you've got your whole life ahead of you. You need to go do something else. I didn't get fired or anything. They didn't want to lose me, but we became friends over time, and they just didn't want me to stay in that situation where, I had gotten to the top of the food chain there, I felt like this Queen of Pentacles does now, thinking, I'm at the top here. It's wonderful, right? But it was just a little tiny section of life, and sometimes it's difficult for us to really see that, because it felt good at the time. Like, oh, hey, this is it. I made it. I'm successful. I'm the manager of this place, and I've gotten to the top of the ladder here. But they were kind of looking at me and saying, the ladder's too short. This ladder goes nowhere. You got to go and find what you're meant to do in life. And they were right, of course, but I didn't want to leave. I liked the people. I enjoyed the work. I felt successful. I wasn't really paying that much. It was a ladder that was very short. It was like a little step stool. It was like just a couple of steps. And that's sort of what I feel with the Princess of Cups, realizing that there's a whole vast world out, like using your imagination. Can you imagine something beyond this fence? Because the Queen of Pentacles cannot. The Queen of Pentacles is looking back at this and thinking, wow, I made it. Look at me, I'm sitting pretty in my throne, looking at the past road that I took to get here. But again, it's like you climb that ladder, but it was a very short ladder. You traveled that long and winding road, but it was kind of a short road, right? And again, not trying to diminish your accomplishments there. Queen of Pentacles is very successful, but it's limited. It's holding you back from what's coming next. Okay, and so the Four of Wands is saying it was meant to be temporary. It was a cycle that you were on. It's closing now. It's completing itself now. We've got to be able to imagine something greater, something bigger, something more wide open, something more free, something next. Okay, and the Queen is looking at the past too, but the Queen of Swords, looking at it in a different sort of perspective, kind of rising above how it feels, rising above that Queen of Pentacles and seeing, oh, when I'm in the chariot, I feel like this is wide open countryside, But when I rise up above everything and look down, I realize that there's a fence around me. And there's the whole wide world outside of that fence. But when you're in the chariot, you feel like this is the whole world. Okay? And so we need that perspective to look at this. Looking at the future, we see the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles is kind of saying that we've stopped short of our potential. The Seven of Pentacles is a plant that sort of started growing and was doing really, really well, but you never transplanted it to the garden. It stayed in that little pot, the little pot you get from the store, from like the garden section at the store or whatever. It's like you left it in that little pot. And it's become a beautiful plant. Yeah, it's great, but the roots are being sort of smushed, and it's not getting very tall, and the flowers aren't on there, or it's not getting any tomatoes, or it has a couple tomatoes, but they're tiny. You can't leave it in that pot. At least I don't think so. I don't have the green thumb. My wife does. But that's the idea here. Okay? That something is not growing to its full potential because it's being kept in that little tiny pot. And now we're going to go to the path of the serpent, and we're going to realize that we can do something about this. You've got the fire and the water right here. You've got the imagination, and you've got the fire. You've got the ability to commit and to have discipline and have energy. You got a fire in your belly, I think we just need to believe and imagine and dream that there is more out there for you. And that's going to take us over here. As we talk about the path of the serpent, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's totally free. It doesn't cost anything. Leave a comment and, let me know how you're doing. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I also have another channel. It's Dove and Serpent Bedtime Stories. Go subscribe over there. I try to post 1 or 2 stories a week. Okay. All right. 6 of Swords here. This is having that blueprint. Okay. This is, I think, when we look at these cards together, we sort of see that we're getting a bird's eye view of our blueprint. And even when we look at this blueprint card, we see the fence, right? We see the circle inside, but now it's surrounded by the square, right? Circle gets the square, no whammies. It's being fenced in. That circle can't expand anymore. That growth cannot take place because it's being kept in that fence. You're putting the circle in that square, and there's no. It's a prison, right? And so we're looking at our plan here, and we're thinking, okay, this might need a little bit of tinkering. So I feel that there's a need to sort of reevaluate your long-term plans here. Okay, and I think your general energy, being the 6 of Swords, is, it may be a little difficult. Okay, because we've identified with this, because this was the perfect plan. Yes, this was great. This plan worked very well when you were here. But now if we're going to get out of here and we're going to use our imagination, we're going to dream bigger dreams, right? We're going to sort of, we're going to transplant ourselves from the little tiny pot from the store to now the whole garden. We realize that our plans got to change a little bit. Our perspective has to change a little bit. The rules have changed. Life inside that little pot or the little fishbowl is a lot different than life in the ocean or life in the whole garden, right? Whatever analogy you want to use. So it's okay that we improvise a little bit. It's okay that we use our imagination, we dream, and we use our intuition. We follow the synchronicities and dream, And of course, that is what we're doing here with the adjustment card. And that's the sort of, the message for you. The spiritual energy right now in your environment is the evaluation of your choices. The perception, right? The dreaming and the perception and the realization and the assessment of things, all is leading up to that higher discernment and leading you to making different choices. Right? We are on a case-by-case, moment-to-moment, every thought, word, and deed is getting an audit, right? Getting an evaluation. And we're able to see whether this choice is going to be beneficial or if it's not, if this is limiting, right? And in a way, with the Princess of Cups, it's kind of saying the more outrageous, the better. The more sort of impossible sounding, the better. But we still have this higher discernment that's going to, allow us to sort of realistically say, okay, this is where I need to go. I'm not going to let my fear get in the way. I'm not going to stay inside this box just because it's been comfortable here, just because it's been working and I feel like I'm sort of, on top of the hill here. That we can make these choices for our, higher good, I guess, if you will. Yeah. Making choices that are going to lead to our expansion, lead to our growth, lead to progress. Okay. And we've got the nine of Pentacles here. We realize this is what we need. We realize that we need to see progress. See, this is kind of, the Seven of Pentacles is kind of like there's not a lot of growth, but we still have faith. We still sort of trust. We still believe in this energy. We still we're confident that it'll grow. We keep that plant in that little that little pot from the store and we think, it'll grow. I'm going to keep watering it. I'm going to do my best. It's going to be okay. Because you have that faith, you have that commitment, that loyalty, that devotion, right? Those are very good qualities. Keep those, But now apply those same qualities to life in the greater garden, to life in, you put your fish into a bigger fish tank or whatever, and realize that we need to be able to grow. We need to be able to expand and sort of stretch our wings and stretch our arms and legs, The Nine of Pentacles is gain. It's a card of sort of, incoming resources. I think that greater success is in your future. I feel that I feel like a large sum of money is coming your way. A larger sum of money. So if we're getting out of this limited situation, you're getting to a position where there are more opportunities, more resources, bigger paycheck. You can earn more money, more opportunities. Okay? You're going to see right away that there's progress here. As soon as we get out of the fishbowl, we realize we just feel bigger now. We're not all squished up and compressed. That we're allowed to take up more space. And so it's like a sponge, that it's just, you squeeze it and it sort of stays that way. But once you let it go, it slowly starts to kind of expand to its proper shape, its proper size. And so I feel that with the Nine of Pentacles, it's going to be immediately we're going to see improvement. This is the visible sign of progress. Okay? And this is what we want, you're due to see some good things happening. With the Seven of Pentacles, we're looking at it and we're thinking, I'm not seeing anything good happening, but I'm committed, I'm disciplined, I'm not giving up. You're not a quitter. You have your devotion, your discipline. You're saying it'll come eventually it'll be here. Yeah, it will, but we've got to change some things. Okay? You're due to see that progress happening. And with the Death card here at the very end, you realize that everything is temporary. Everything is a process of growth and change. The Four of Wands reminds us of the impermanence of our human endeavors. Our whatever situation we're in. Anytime we get a 4, we start looking for the 5. We say, okay, this is a cycle that's ending now. I got to look for the exit. The merry-go-rounds or the Ferris wheels going around again, and then it's going to stop, and I'm going to have to get off the ride. Okay? You use your imagination, follow your desires. There's more rides in the amusement park to get on, But this one feels comfortable. This one feels like I belong here. It feels like I'm the boss here because I've been on this one roller coaster a million times that I'm the expert now. I'm the master of it. I'm the big, boss of the roller coaster. But if we get off the ride and we go strolling around the park looking for a different ride, we're going to get on it. It's going to have a little bit of excitement. We're going to be a little bit scared. We're going to be a little bit nervous. We're going to feel like, oh, crap, I made a mistake. I should have stayed on the familiar roller coaster. Maybe this one goes upside down. That freaks me out. But that's the only way that we're going to expand and grow. We have to continue our evolution by staying where you are now, whatever it is for you. I don't know if it's a work thing, a relationship, or a spiritual thing, or whatever. Staying where you are now, you're sort of denying the reality of the world, the reality of this fundamental force of change. That we're putting ourselves at odds with the function and flow of the universe. Yeah. Death is slow and steady. Death is not in a hurry. It's going to get to everybody. But, we can't stay where we are and just think that we're immune to the process of change. No, we've got to grow and evolve too. We're going to be left behind by life, So this card, as your final outcome, is you realigning yourself with this process of change and knowing when you've outgrown things, it's time to go. When things have wrapped up, when you're off that cycle and that circle is closed, that's it. It's moving on. We're getting off there. When the ride comes to a complete stop and that weird metal bar thing lifts up and the usher, whatever, tells you, okay, go, you go. And it's time to continue on. More passengers are getting on the the ride. If we refuse to leave, then what? They might let you go around again, but then eventually they're going to call security and you're going to be forcibly removed from the roller coaster. So we don't want to put ourselves at odds with the universe in that way. Okay, because the cosmic security guards are quite scary, right? Let's look at our mystery card and see what we've got here. I do think that large sum of money is coming your way. I feel that this is, you're due to see some big improvement, some big time progress going on, okay? I also feel that there's a lawyer somewhere in your family, you're in a relationship with a lawyer, or there's some sort of a legal thing going on in your life right now, yeah. Mystery card. Also, what's with the spiders? Why? There's spiders. Yeah, you have spiders, or you're. No, I think you're the person that you find a spider, and you sort of scoop it up with a piece of paper and you throw it outside. You know, I don't feel like you're stamping them out, right? I feel like you sort of scoop them up and wish them well as you fling them into the grass. Yeah. Pentacles. I'm thinking pentacles here. That's what I'm feeling. If you have a prediction or a feeling about this card, please put it in the comments. Oh, an Ace of Cups. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense because this is the source of all of this water, right? That you're tapping into your creative source. And yeah, you're imagining a lot of different rivers, a lot of different currents in your life. The Ace of Cups is the source of all water. So from this Ace of Cups, all other rivers flow. It branches out into every other river and nourishes every other part of your life. Okay? So it is a card that's really, it's finding the source of all that expansion. And really it's the water energy that's sort of fueling that Princess of Cups as well. And this is where all of that comes from. And so in some ways, it doesn't matter really what we're dreaming as long as we're dreaming. It doesn't matter what you're desiring or what you're after as long as you're after something and pursuing something and moving forward with that death energy, that slow and steady progress and getting in touch or reharmonizing with that fundamental force of the universe. This is the beginning of what's coming next for you. This is the beginning of you stepping onto that path. This is you stepping out of the roller coaster onto the platform. Because now you got the whole amusement part. This is when you first transplant your tomato plant into the garden. Right? You're going to have to maybe pack down the soil a little bit or water it or whatever you're supposed to do, you know. Get the roots, you know, happy. And then start growing, you know. This is that first step that I think is, it takes courage and confidence. It's going to take discipline and all that stuff too, and devotion. And you got all of that in your heart, and now it's time to apply it toward whatever's coming next, even if you don't know what's coming next, right? We don't know how this water is going to create the river. We think of, when you're a kid and you turn the hose on, and water starts on the dirt, right? Just flowing onto the dirt in one spot. You don't yet know where that water is going to sort of carve a way through the grass and how it's going to get to wherever it's going. You don't know where it's going or what sort of twists and turns it's going to take. I used to love doing that when I was a kid, just to turn the hose on and watch the water sort of pool up in the middle, and then it just sort of it breaks the boundaries of the dirt and it just starts flowing, and it feels like it's alive. It feels like it has a consciousness of its own because it's just sort of, it's flowing through the dirt. We had a lot of dirt. We didn't have grass on the side yard. It was just dirt, so good opportunity to play in the mud and stuff. But that's what I feel like with this. We may not know where it's going or what exactly the path is going to look like. It's going to sort of have a consciousness of its own, but we're taking the first step, that we've got the water flowing and we're aspiring to something else. This is really good for you. We're going to do an extended reading too. If you want to stick around, there's a link up top. There's a link down below. New readings for Taurus are on Mondays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free and it supports the channel. Also, go sub to my wife Lenore's channel, Ula Tea Leaf Readings, as well as my bedtime story channel, Dove and Serpent Bedtime Stories. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.